But if both runners go deathless, we're going to have a really tight race.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we may have to put on the PB watch if both of these runners go through deathless.
Yeah, true skill of the runner is not taking as many enemies and maintaining their survival through the entire run.
So both runners are readying up. We're about ready to get the countdown. Let's get some answers in chat. Who do you want to see win this race? Will it be Wulfy or JSR in this matchup? And we're underway here in this matchup. So pretty much we'll detail how things go on throughout this entire run. It's cut and dry through the first few minutes of this run here, although you will see if either of these runners employ the pumping strats.
Yes, this is true. They both are going to get out of bed roughly about 27 seconds, which is our normal time. Both are also shooting for a sub-6 escape. That's the general time we would like to see on the clocks.
And the way both of these runners are heading into the underground portion here, it's systematic for a reason. Very little separation first, as both of these runners hit the uncle about the same time.
Alright, we're about to head into Hyrule Castle very soon. They're going to lean towards the wall for some pumping here. Through the torch here, they did a little bit of pump off that torch.
Looks like JSR is getting more bothered by the guards than Wulfy is at this point. Just a little bit of bad luck. Also, him having a tough brush against one of the bushes also cost him enough time where the guards ended up getting in the wrong spot.
Alright, as they head down this spiral staircase, they're trying to avoid stair lag by going out left or right. Because if you go exactly straight down with that room, you'll get some lag going, and Link won't be able to move just as quickly.
Yeah, he only does like a one tile movement as opposed to the two coming off the stairs. So movement like that does matter. Also, the way you go into doors also matters, as we see a little bit of variance in how both these runners make it through these first few rooms of escape, both pulling up the sword, getting ready to meet up with the second guard they have to kill.
Yeah, guard's also RNG based too. You like to see him more closer towards the door. As you can see, they got the boomerang, was easily able to use it right away because they didn't pick up the lamp. You can actually pick up the lamp in 3 spots, and this is why the runners often leave it to Zelda Cell when they decide to pick it up.
The interesting aspect here was that the key had to go through the door for JSR to actually pick it up. So 8 slashes here on this guard, and the big key will be given to both of these runners here. That will allow them to get into the cell where Zelda awaits. There's the lamp pickup. So this game requires you to have the lamp when you go back upstairs.
Yes, absolutely. Without the lamp, you can't push that little mantle, and that's why we need it.
How nice that the lamp gives you the strength to push a mantle.
It definitely sheds the light, doesn't it, Rick?
My first commentary in this tournament was with Elminster. That was worthy of an Elminster joke. So both of these runners are hugging the wall to get themselves the extra frame movement. And pretty much the remainder of this escape is avoiding the enemies and making your way through the sewers, because there's only one other enemy in this remainder of this escape that you have to kill.
That's absolutely correct. But as you mentioned, the enemies are definitely RNG related, so we'll see how our runners fare. First one they're going to approach is going to be these Ropa snakes. And then later on, as you mentioned, the one last enemy they have to kill, he can move in various patterns. Hopefully not the northwest location that we all hate.
And unluckily for JSR, he's down to 1 heart, but he's going to be able to pick up a heart out of one of the bottles or the jars before he makes his way into the 2nd floor of the basement here. So thanks, JSR, for picking up that heart. That gets rid of that infernal beeping noise.
Wow, wall of snakes there.
That's where that boomerang comes in handy.
Yeah, boomerang is really good for this area because you don't want to slash through the enemies. It's a little bit slower. Booming them and going through them is a little bit quicker. And here's the pumping action going through the water because going through the water actually slows Link's movement. So pumping kind of helps balance it out.
Now, I know there's a command for it, but you want to briefly explain this pumping thing? Is unfortunately, Wulfy does get the rat to go to the northwest, but so too does JSR. So both of these runners getting the unfortunate RNG of the rat going northward. So do you want to explain as they finish off this escape area what that pumping you're talking about is?
Well, pretty much when you're going north and left, you're pretty much pumping off the wall, and it resets Link's movement into a two frames per frame movement. Now Link's normal speed is about 1. So by constantly pumping off the wall, you keep recycling it back to 2. So that's why you save a little more time. And also there's air pumping where you want to move at a less than 45-degree angle, and you can do diagonal pumps in the air to save some time as well.
So both of these runners done with the escape. 559 for Wulfy, 601 for JSR. Both of them did get that text box skip as they went their way to that final room of the escape. And as you can see, both of these runners are going to go ahead and grab the Sanctuary Heart to get themselves a replenish, get them up to 4 hearts, and get them ready for the next stage, which will be Eastern Palace.
Alright, it's very important you see on this screen how they avoided the green guard because they stood a little bit up as they walked by. If you actually went a little bit low, the green guard will notice you. So then you're going to have to then try to move around to avoid him.
And if you're unlucky, he will come upon you. You will take some damage. And while you do have some health that you have the opportunity to pick up inside Eastern Palace, there's a certain reason why you want to have as many hearts filled up as possible when you get to the main part of Eastern Palace.
And they're heading up these stairs where they can double pump. This is actually the most beneficial part of pumping. You actually save the most of the time on these stairs heading into Eastern Palace. We're about to approach the cannonball room. This is also RNG based, how these cannonballs shoot out. You want to hope for a pattern where you don't have to zigzag as much.
It looks like both of the runners got about the same RNG through the cannonball room. So Wulfy has about a second lead over JSR at this point. That really doesn't mean anything at this 8-minute mark of this 90-minute run.
Alright, they're in the Stalfos room where they're going to manipulate so that there's only 2 that will appear. And they got the little magic drop where they boomeranged it, so during every boss fight, your magic will totally refill. So by having a little bit of magic, your magic bar is going to refill a little bit faster.
And you notice that these runners are going to go ahead and pick up 5 arrows out of this pot. This is the only time they're going to be over on this side. The other 2 arrow drops on the other side of the room they can pick up after they pick up the big key. And then you need these arrows for the boss fight of this dungeon, because if you try to sort it, it's not going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, they're not risking the prize pack of hoping that the later Igor enemy will drop it. They're just taking it for extra precaution. And they're also slashing some of these popos, hoping to get rupees, just like JSR did there.
We'll talk about rupees coming up in a little bit because they will be important in about 20 minutes from now, as Wulfy does take 1.5 hearts damage in order to get the big key. So does JSR, so very good on the big key manipulation here in that room. Otherwise, you have to go, well, if you don't do it that way, if you don't take the damage and step on that button, you have to do it the way the game intended you to do so, which was to clear the room of those enemies.
Alright, both got the bow now. Gonna utilize that bow to kill our enemy with the key that we need. And we're gonna be heading upstairs here. They're gonna pick up some more arrows because they want to have above 18 arrows.
Both runners with 24 arrows, and the next 3 rooms are why you need arrows.
Yes, this is the Zelda gamer room. There's a funny story about that. You can see a clip about that later, but that's why we named it that. Alright, unfortunately, it was nice that Wulfy did get the prize back arrows, so did JSR here.
Yeah, they don't have to go farming through other pots here, and both of them are getting out over the Armos Knights. And this is going to be a quick fight for both of these runners here. Wulfy does get the final hit skip here, so does JSR. Solid fight for both of these runners.
Really nice fight. They both executed the top right strat. They're both standing in the middle, holding their pendants tried and true.
And the thing with that is if the final Armos Knight turns red, he regains all of his HP, and you got to hit him with 3 more arrows, no matter how many arrows you hit him at the beginning.
Alright, both runners are heading to collect their Pegasus boots from our favorite Sahasrahla.
And so Sahasrahla with the boots here, and the big thing is that this is going to activate the spin speed that you're going to be talking about right now, Hiei.
Yes, once they get these boots, they could hold out their sword and do a spin attack and release and they slide their hand to the dash button at the same time to release that frame. And once they take a step on the stairs here, they'll be using spin speed dash throughout the whole game here until they go to the next frame transition. Very nice by Wulfy there, and JSR does the same. This room that he's screen transitioning to with the screen guard, if you hold up and left, the guard will never see you, just as you screen transition, because you just move 1 pixel up enough and the guard will never see you.
Otherwise, he's going to take some health from you, and it's not going to be fun.
We're going to see that technique being used here once again before we head to the library, or some runners would just dash right through like Wulfy. He says, forget it. It's much quicker if I miss it. I don't have to worry about it. JSR does execute it for us, though.
Yeah. And the gains are minimal, but JSR gave some of that gain back because he had to wiggle along to the door, so he didn't have a clean transition into the library.
And this is where you're going to see it when they exit out.
Both pulled it off to perfection as they get ready to head on over to the Desert Palace.
One other thing to note is you'll notice that they execute the dashing as soon as they can because this maximizes the dash potential through the entire screen. And it's also very important routing that they're going through these tall grasses and minimize water, because it also slows Link's movement. So this is why the route is done so.
And you may think it may not matter, but the thing is, it does matter. You want to maximize your frame movement.
All important prayer to open our Desert Palace, and it's also important to click A. Link will not move out of that prayer position if you just thought you can have a coffee break there.
We got a more important coffee break coming up in just a few minutes, but first, Desert Palace and arrows. They're important for this dungeon.
Absolutely. The boss does have most vulnerability to the arrows at this time because we don't have any better weapons. Bombs do work too, but it takes a lot longer and it's more risky because they move pretty quickly, and you also have to wait till your bombs explode.
And right now these runners have 0 bombs, so it's a strat that's not really worth it at this point.
Here's our first other RNG room with the cannonball. Oh, nice one for Wulfy, just able to dash through. Same with James here. J-Star making it through nicely.
Both these runners getting similar RNG at this point, and that's good to see.
Of course, they're picking up arrows here.
Yeah, you saw Wulfy do it on the way back from the big key. JSR did it on the way to the big key. It doesn't really matter in what order you do it. And you're going to see them pick up some more arrows in this room here. And that gives JSR maximum 30. That gives Wulfy 28.
Really good arrow counts for the boss here. This is what you want to have in an ideal situation with this many arrows. And plus, you're going to need arrows for later on. So you always have a good plentiful of them is really nice.
It's like this dungeon screaming to the runners to use the arrows, although you wouldn't think about it. Here's a chance if either runner wanted to do it, to do another spin speed, but it's not one of the ones that gives you a lot of frames benefit if you pull it off.
It's true, and it's also very risky because you can fall off the ledge and lose about a minute there, so the pro versus the con is really dangerous there. Now here's Popo RNG here. You would hope that they're nearby the door, but looks like James had a little bit one that stayed up north there. You see Wulfy execute a key dash by nudging that torch. It aligned him for the perfect trigger to open the key before Link bonks into it. About a 4-pixel trigger to open the door. And somehow Link's dash movement's also 4 pixels, so if you trigger it before, you won't bonk into it then.
So now it's time to throw some arrows, and it looks like Wulfy's having decent arrows right now. Gets 1 head down. There's 2.
And this tricky part about this fight is when you miss an arrow, you have to wait till your arrow goes all the way until it hits the wall before you can fire another one. So what you do to compensate for that is slash with your sword at the time when the arrow is sailing to the wall.
Solid fight there for Wulfy. He's already done. JSR a little bit behind right now. Should be wrapping him up right now.
Yeah, not too bad. You generally wish to finish this in 3 cycles, but 3 to 4 is not too bad.
Let me just put it out there. Wulfy did that in 15 arrows. JSR used 25.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pick up a little bit more arrows for the run, but he should manage. There's quite a few arrows in some places still, even in where he needs to use them later on in the dungeons. But Wulfy, he can access to skip some.
So we come across one of the scarier parts of this run here. It's the fake flippers portion that gets him over towards the Death Mountain area faster. As Wulfy does get a good Zora spawn. Nothing that's going to bother him. Let's see how JSR does, because there's a big risk in doing this, and we've already seen this come into play in this tournament.
Alright, he's trying to stream transition. He's just 1 pixel off. There you go.
Yep, and hopefully this time he's got a good spot. He's got it too, so both of these runners settled with the fake flippers there, but Wulfy does get a little bit bigger of an advantage over JSR at this point as we head on over towards Death Mountain.
This is a great spot where runners will also utilize the spin speed once again, because you can avoid all these big cabbage boulders that keep flying at us. Yeah, one thing to note about the fake flippers once again is in the tournament we're allowing players to save and quit the minute they do get hit in the safe flipper soft lock situation. What happens is the game doesn't know where to position Link, so you end up in a screen wrap if you do get hit while you're in the fake flippers.
Yeah, we've already seen that come into play in a few of the races here in the tournament where we've had to even reset one of the matches because of both runners getting bonked while fake flippering. JSR getting bothered by the cabbages here as Wulfy now heads into the Tower of Hera. And JSR not getting the spin speed, so he's going to have to reset his dash anytime he tries to turn a corner. That's where that spin speed comes into play.
And I see in chat someone's asking, are all these glitches in NMG exclusive? There's quite a lot of them that are. Spin speed is definitely one that is. Fake flippers is for sure. Item dashing, yep, which we might see right here. We might see item dash here. I mean, James might attempt the item dash here. Wulfy looks like he's killing tiles here.
So yeah, if you tried pulling off half of these glitches on the US cart, it wouldn't work. So what ends up happening is they patched many of the things in the US, and that's why you see many of the runners opt to use the Japanese version of this game when they're playing it. Oh, that was nice, except for JSR didn't get the invincibility frames.
That's fine. Yeah, he doesn't get his coffee break, but the good part about this is he's not losing any time because these tiles still have to go out anyways. It's just the very last tile is the one that determines if he's losing time in this room or not.
He's just got to make sure that he keeps his sword out because you don't want to take hit damage from these things because taking too much, well, you're back to starting. You have to do this room all over again.
In Wulfy's room, he's doing the hard hat needle room. Executes a different kind of strat. Oh wow, he does the crystal switch on the bottom and hitting the hard hat beetle into the hole.
Yeah. So here we go with the bomb jump now. We're going to see Wulfy try to set up a bomb jump to get him to the big chest. And he knows he's in the wrong spot. So he's going to forfeit out of that one and grab a bomb out of another pot and try to set it up again. If he gets this correct, he's saving himself going upstairs and then back downstairs. And that gets the moon pearl earlier. As you see him pull it off on the second attempt. We'll see JSR's whether or not he tries to pull that off as well.
And by do that bomb jump, by dashing, he gets a little bit more frames to make the jump. So he doesn't have to do it so perfectly aligned.
And JSR gets it as well. So both runners pulling off the bomb jump. That goes and saves him some time having to go back upstairs. So now Wulfy going up against Moldorm, or if we want to call him Trolldorm. Either way, 6 hits. We now have him on the super speed here, so that way it's 5 and 1 more hit to go. Wulfy's got him down. JSR now to face off against Trolldorm as well.
That was a really clean fight by Wulfy, staying really close to Moldorm. The only part of Moldorm that actually can hurt you.
Oh! JSR goes down the center hole. That takes him down 2 floors to the 4th floor. That is going to cost him some time.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that can possibly happen besides a death is right there, the middle hole. And the thing about Moldorm is...
and he goes down again.
Oh, the bumper skip. No. Oh my god. So, yeah, 6 hits. The only part that actually hurts you is his head. And of course, the only vulnerable part is his tail.
So JSR is going to have to shake it off and try this all over again. Wulfy. And one other thing to point out is if you get knocked off the hole, you have to do the fight all over again as JSR falls down a second time to Moldorm.
Alright, as you can see on Wulfy's screen, he's doing the rupee tree route. He took the tree to reset the count, but now he has to kill 4 more enemies without taking a hit to tug another tree to get the red rupees that he wants, which we'll need later on in the game.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up really shortly here. JSR down to beeping strats. One more hit from Oldorm, and he's dead. He's got him down to the final hit as Wulfy picks up the Master Sword. JSR trying to get the tail to help him out here. Gets him down. Finally gets him down. JSR's got to shake that off and make his way over to get the Master Sword.
Yep. As our story goes on, you need 3 pendants to collect the Master Sword, and that's why we needed to finish all the Light World dungeons.
So Wulfy has now pulled the Master Sword, now making his way on over to the castle. JSR will be doing the same thing in just a moment, but that did set him back a considerable amount of time. So Wulfy will see if he grabs the mushroom.
Oh, he got hit. So
Wulfy did get hit. So that means his tier pack is on a different cycle now.
Yeah, it resets to green. He had to pull a tree to reset the count. Now he has to kill 4 more enemies once again without taking a hit, and pull the backup tree near Hyrule Castle.
So with that, now he's going to be doing a little bit extra here just to make sure. And it looks like he's even just going to go ahead and skip it at this moment, but it looks like he's trying to plan things out. So yeah, he is killing things on his way to the castle, and he's keeping a count. There he goes. There's his 4. So there are his red rupees, and again, that's going to come into play. He needs that after he's done with Aghanim's tower.
He also got the hearts to get back sword beams, where he can utilize a faster strat through the chain guards that he's about to approach here.
JSR picking up the Master Sword, should have himself set up and ready to go to try to get the count as well. So Wulfy coming into the Aghanim's tower. This first room here with the beams, looks like he's gonna go with some arrow strats. That's gonna help him out, save him some time.
And here's the beams right here, and then the dash. The reason why we're dashing through enemies is so that we can maintain the prize pack count down, because later on Turtle Rock, we also have the same prize pack of enemies where we can manipulate to try to get a fairy to appear there.
JSR did not get hit. He is making his way over, going to do the tug of the tree and get his red rupees. And there it is. So Wulfy climbing up this tower. So now we've got to get ready to talk about Aghanim and one of the annoying aspects of the Aghanim fight, the blue balls aspect.
Yes, that's really painful. Blue balls is 50% chance of happening, but generally our average is about 3 blue balls per Aghanim fight, but it can go up to 15 if you don't miss any energy balls.
Let's not even think of that even possibly happening.
Alright, we're in the circle of pots room there. Yes, very important to grab those arrows Wulfy went back from. Nice.
Solid for first room for JSR coming on in, and Wulfy taking care of the second room. JSR doing the beam strats as well as the dash, just like you mentioned a few moments ago. So how many blue balls do you think Wulfy's going to get stuck with here in this fight?
I would say 3. One thing Wulfy did that was really smart is you saw the automatic staircase there. He stopped his dash as he's going up to them. That actually saves him a few frames of time, because somehow being the dash animation as you get to the top of the stairs slows you down.
And this is where RNG will take over, as JSR would love for a scenario here where he gets less than what Wulfy ends up getting. So far, what is that? We've had 2 for 2 on the orbs.
That's really nice. Oh, there's one.
Oh, there's one right there.
Now, you also see what Wulfy's trying to do is trying to get Aghanim to the center, because he's trying to reduce his teleport time so that he can shoot his energy ball or blue ball at him next. That's one thing the runners try to do, at least to start to get him to the next teleport sequence as soon as possible. Alright, there's 3 now. And of course, after every lightning phase, you're always going to get an energy ball, so we're definitely going to have an energy ball right here.
And that is the 6th and final hit on Aghanim, so Wulfy is done with the tower, as JSR now makes his way up to the 7th floor. So, the rupees. Why are they so important? Why do you want to make sure that you have those 80 rupees coming out of that tree before you go into the castle, Hiei?
Well, we need to have 110 because we're going to run into this crazy monkey we call Kiki. He's going to ask us for 10 rupees at first, but then he's going to say, I want a little bit more when you enter this Palace of Darkness. Alright, Wulfy does a little quick hop off the stairs there, which helps him get into the spin speed off the pyramid stairs there.
So far, it looks like JSR is 3 for 4 on the first section of the Aga 1 fight. As he swings his sword to the rhythm of the boss music. One more hit for JSR and he'll be done with his fight. Would really love to escape with only 1 blue ball. Yeah, and that's what exactly he gets. 1 blue ball fight.
That actually helps him save a bit of time here.
It saved him 2 extra blue balls, which made it 1 extra lightning phase as well. So JSR has a really good Aga 1 fight. A lucky fight, I guess we have to say, because once again, that's RNG based.
Absolutely. And you can see Wulfy tried to move Kiki closer to his body so the monkey jumps off his back quicker to open the entrance for us.
He wants to get that monkey off his back
as soon as he can. Save frames, man.
So as Wulfy goes in, grabs the key out of the first pot here over the first chest in the Palace of Darkness, JSR making his way over. He's got 113 rupees, and that comes into play more of the idea that one thing you mentioned about Kiki, you need 110 rupees, but Kiki doesn't like it when Link gets bothered.
Yes, if you do get hit while you have Kiki, he'll run away, and then he'll ask for another 10 rupees from you. And you're going to have to look around for those 10 rupees.
In the exact worst case scenario, you could go into Sarashala's back closet to get him. So JSR is going to have to just be careful not to take any damage. And, well, that enemy tried.
As you also see in Wulfy's, what he's doing, he's collecting these keys, but he's also mirroring to the front entrance of the dungeon. By doing so, he can also pick up those bombs again, because every time you reset the dungeon, the pots get refilled again.
And you're doing these to get your bomb count up, because you're going to be spending one of the bombs in this next room.
Alright, this is the hammer jump. This is going to be 2 Y pixel perfect placements. First, the bomb has to be placed in a perfect Y pixel placement, and then Link has to move into the next one.
And you can see Wulfy trying to buffer this by using the pause, the menu strats. And so therefore he pulls that trick off, and now he's going to go down here to the bottom. There's going to be a small key. That's what he needs for the remainder of this dungeon. Also, he kept his heart count still pretty good, because the room that he's going to get into, he's going to be able to refill his hearts up to 3 hearts there. And you want to have those sword beams because it helps save you a menu later on as you get to a crystal switch that you're going to see very soon. Well, not only does that save you a menu, but you do want to have as much life as you possibly can for the Helmasaur King fight, because that, at this stage in the game, is a really tough battle. You only have 7 hearts when you're going on the NMG route here, and you don't have any protection. And Helmasaur can hit like a mother.
Yep, just about 2 hearts of damage per Helmasaur hits. So you want to have as much health as you can. Also, by having more hearts, it actually helps you at the end phase. When you refill your life, you'll be able to refill much sooner, and so you'll be able to get to the text box sequence where we're going to be mashing right away. I think JSR makes the small jump nice.
Yeah, both these runners pulling off the jump as Wulfy now gets ready to go up against the beetles. And they're not nice, they're not fun to deal with, but they do like to guard this one room here. And that's a nice spin to take care of 4 of them. And he is going to go into the teleport here and make his way over to the Helmasaur King with full life.
Yeah, that was a really good turtle room pattern for Wulfy. He executed textbook right there. And someone asked in chat, yes, you can do bomb jumps in the English version. That's actually one thing you can still do.
So we first have to rip off the mask of the Helmasaur King. That takes a few hearts in order to take, or rather a few hits, by the tune of 16 of them. And so now 3 hearts remaining. Wulfy's going to have to be careful because if he dies in this fight, that gives JSR the lead. But he's not going to die. He finishes off the fight, and he is done with the first palace.
Let's see if Wulfy actually tucks Spike there. Saves about 3 frames. That's one thing you can do during this fight is after Helmasaur is exploding for the heart catch, you save a little frames by grabbing the Spike behind him there.
So JSR's turn to head on down to the basement of the Palace of Darkness while Wulfy deals with Cutscene City.
Yes, we're going to see this text box with maidens quite a few more times here. This one's really quite long, but the longest one's going to definitely be Swamp Palace. And that's hence why I named that maiden Chatty Cathy.
Chatty Cathy. We'll see her a little bit later on. JSR didn't have quite as clean of a beetle room as Wulfy did, but is able to escape there still with his life intact, so he's going to go to the Helmasaur King with all 7 hearts filled.
Alright, it's going to take 17 hammer hits to break the mask.
Oh, nice dodge there by JSR. That was close, but he didn't dodge that last fireball. Now he's down 2 hearts, down to 5 hearts.
Oh, now he has 3.
He's switching to the arrows, and he's getting a beneficial setup here from... Oh, he's down to 1 heart.
Ooh.
Gonna have to be careful. Anything kills him.
Whoa,
Got him
God.
down, though. JSR could not afford a death at this stage.
No, the worst part about that is because he already used up all the arrows. It'll be painful. Then he has to pick up the arrows to get past that mimic room. So, clutched out that fight. Really nice to see.
So Wulfy now heads on over towards the Haunted Grove. He will get the shovel, which yields the flue, and this is on the path to our next dungeon. It's not Swamp, it's not Skull Woods, it's going to be Thieves Town.
There's a funny thing about this shovel, because Wulfy's trying to attempt a quick warp with the mirror transition. When you're talking to that NPC, however, you're going to notice your camera actually changes a little bit. The next time you try it or you see the run, start paying attention when you talk to the NPC. Your camera angle actually changes. So usually runners, to try to get the quick warp, they need a perfect pixel visual cue. So then you have to adjust that by tapping, of course, up and left once after the text box, and you'll be able to get your camera angle back to what it should be positioned for a quick warp. Oh, no, not this.
The Usain Bolt guard. as Wulfy tried to dash around. And what ended up happening is Wulfy did not get the spin speed on his first try. So therefore, the guard was already alerted to you, and you were already in trouble. And unfortunately, Wulfy loses 2 hearts to him.
And the only way to kind of run away from Usain Bolt is actually going diagonal. For some reason, if he goes left and right, he's always going to be faster than Link.
So there's a reason why these runners go to Thieves Town next. It's because the Titan's Mitt unlocks some helpful things in the game. The Titan's Mitt is obviously required, but there's a nice little sword that comes out of going to Thieves Town first. And the boss of Thieves Town doesn't really care what sword you have.
You also see a quick warp attempted by Wulfy there. That one's actually going through the portal going from the left side. Quick warps are actually really good in this game because it actually saves you about half a second.
So while we're getting ready to go into Thieves Town, do you want to talk about the quick warps? Because this is the second time you've mentioned that.
Well, the game has different camera angles where you can position yourself, and by going into a certain camera angle and entering a warp, you'll transition faster into the next world.
Beautiful Usain Bolt skip there for JSR. Gets through unscathed.
Well, that's how you textbook finish that dash. Make Usain Bolt look like a second-tier runner. Both runners didn't pick up the mushroom, I think, so if that's the case...
Yeah, neither of them got the safety.
They're not going to get powder at this time. Usually, this is one of the times they would do so if they do that. Alright, Wulfy's about to head into one of the most dangerous rooms in this dungeon. This is called the Hellway. Goes for the... Oh, he did get the perfect pixel, but RNG still gets him with the Patrick Stars.
Yeah, he had the perfect pixel to set up, but when the RNG took over, it was no longer the God pixel.
Just about a lot of things this dungeon does about 2 hearts of damage, so the game doesn't want us to really be here at this time, but the reason why we're doing so is getting those Titan's Mitts will help us be able to upgrade our sword to the Tempered Sword, which is really valuable at this time because it helps kill bosses at a much quicker pace.
Yeah, including the next boss we're going to find after we get to Blind. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few moments, as Wulfy now making his way over towards the Maiden, getting the Titan's Mitt as well. Getting a little bit of trouble, and RNG's not playing nice with Wulfy on this middle section of this run.
Well, I just noticed on Wulfy's end, he did actually pick up the mushroom. It wasn't his menu, so I'm wondering if he's going to pick up the powder later or he's going to opt to use fake powder later on in the game.
Didn't look like to me like he did pick it up, but if he did, I didn't even notice that. That's remarkable. Anyways, so right now we're going to go ahead and grab the key, grab the Maiden, and make our way on over to the Titan's Mitt. Thankfully, the Maiden's area does have a few hearts for you to pick up, so he gets himself up to 5 hearts. That gets him out of what's considered the danger range. JSR didn't have the good pick set up here in the God Pixel room.
Of course, Wulfy was smart to pick up the pot there, once again, for more supplies. Knowing where your resources in this game is really important when you're speedrunning.
And welcome to the scripted fight called Blind.
Just gonna go down and up, then poke. Another poke.
Yeah, just trying to dodge those heads, because those heads do 2 hearts of damage. But he is able to finish off Blind, and we'll grab the heart container as well as the next crystal. So next up for Wulfy will be a little bit of a trading sequence where he will free off a particular friend of ours. We'll talk about that in just a moment. JSR making his way downstairs in Thieves Town.
All right. Once again, we're going to have the text box going. So this is where we'll be mashing once again. It's actually somewhat nice too, because you give a little bit of breathing to continue the run. Rest your hands a little bit while you're mashing.
Yeah, this is the least tense portion of the fight too, or of the game is the mashing. Yeah, you want it to be done as soon as possible, but it's a whole lot better than having to listen to beeping strats while you're facing off against the boss.
All right, but before we are gonna go pick up our little friend, Wulfy's doing a little bit of fetch questing for rupees, because we still need something later on in the game where we need 500 rupees.
I have no idea what you are talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea either. Let's just see what happens.
And there's JSR facing off against Blind. So 9 hits, and I mentioned this before. It doesn't matter what sword you have. Blind's going to go down to 9 hits.
Alright, we get through the fight.
Yeah, JSR seemed like he got a little aggressive there at the end, but he knew he was almost done with the fight. The only penalty is that he's going to now have an extra 2 hearts he's going to have to fill up here at the end. So Wulfy frees off the Breadsmith, and that is to get a higher level sword. We call it the Tempered Sword.
Yes, and the Smiths were so grateful that you brought him back. They gave us a discount, only costing 10 rupees to temper our sword.
And you notice Wulfy went back into the dark world and back in then to the light world. That's because you need a screen transition in order for your sword to finally be ready.
Alright, this is the most important fence dash in Wulfy's career here. He's going to try to attempt it to dash. No, he does not do it for us. He just says, nope, I'm saving the frames, not even doing it. But he does collect the rupees he needs. There's a special item we're going to collect later on.
Stop teasing me!
The suspense, everybody. The suspense.
Wulfy's not going after this item just yet, so therefore you're just trying to tease me with this aspect. So we're going to go into Skull Woods next.
We are in Rick's favorite room. These mummies sometimes try to grab you while this wall
this room. This is not my favorite room.
I know, I was just playing. Of course, this is everyone's worst room, because everything may go wrong in there. But Wulfy got through really quickly.
Yep, so now he's got the big key, and he's going to go ahead and grab the fire rod. Let's see how his bomb jump goes.
Nice. Oh, fell in the hole.
A little bit outside. So he's going to try to dash in the wall there, and that will allow him to do the proper bomb jump. There we go. There's our fire rod. Time to go kill a bug.
Yep. And since he fell down the hole, he bonked off the wall to save his hearts. Generally, if you do fall in the hole, you'll be positioned right at the entrance, which is a little bit faster. But he's trying to save a little bit of health here now.
Yeah, because Mothula is not a fun fight.
Yep, one of the reasons why he's not a fun fight, you see some spikes coming up ahead, and for some reason the game coded it so that Mothula is invulnerable to those spikes if he runs into them.
Mothula is a big fat cheater.
That's probably true.
Probably?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Mothula who has to be blamed for it. Maybe he didn't want it that way.
It's Mothula's lair. He's a cheater.
All right. He's a cheater.
So you notice Wulfy trying to push the Gibdo into the spikes. That's because if the Gibdo hits the spikes, it's pretty much going to kill him.
Yes, that Gibdo spike strat's really nice. Oh, looks like Wulfy tried for a double poke there. Try for another one. Let's see if he actually gets that one. If he slashes once, he did.
Nice. And JSR pulling off the bomb jump, so he will fall. No, he's just going to bonk into the wall. But he's down too hard, so he doesn't really want to deal with any... he doesn't want to flirt with disaster.
Yeah, generally, Mothula takes 4 slash hits to kill with the Tempered Sword, but you can see that when Wulfy poke dashed into it, it actually hit Mothula twice, so he quickened his fight there. Aw, man, the RNG on JSR screen for the Fire Snake there, yeah. Tried to get through the room with a key dash, but still nailed him.
So 50-14, the exit out of Skull Woods for Wulfy. Now he's going to go head on home. But it's not to rest. You know, you never told me why he wants all these rupees for, eh?
Well, we still need to do some fetch questing, and Wulfy's going to be heading to the area where we can do so. By going to Dark World, he can pick up 2 items in
2
one trip.
required items.
Oh, yeah.
JSR with a... Oh, that was a beautiful fight for JSR. That is a gorgeous fight. None of those spikes moved except for 2 of them. Oh, make it 3 of them.
Want to see.
That's a beautiful fight.
All right. I fess up. We are going to pick up our Quick Medallion from this catfish. But
and that costs 500 rupees?
Not yet. We want to do this first because we save some time by shopping and making our shopping much more or less trip and expensive.
You want to know what's going to save time here? Bonking into that wall.
Yes, for the free quick warp here.
The freest quick warp you'll ever see.
Besides the ones that you can walk left or right into the portals. Those, or the one leaving Skull Woods, just like JSR is doing right there.
So 50-14 was the exit out of Skull Woods for Wulfy. 51-40, the exit out of Skull Woods for JSR. A difference of a minute and 26 seconds at this point. JSR heading on home. Wulfy about to go ahead and pick up this thing that cost 500 rupees. What is it? The flippers.
Yes, because King Zora is the only one who merchandises this item. He can charge whatever price he wishes, so said 500. That's about right.
King Zora is the only person in this game that can teach you how to swim?
Pretty much.
These runners showed that they know how to swim themselves about 22 minutes in.
Well, the problem with that is there's a dungeon, which we call Swamp Palace, and there's no way to get through the Swamp Palace swimming section just yet. Now, if you do find that out, please do tell. We do want to make this run even faster.
As we go into Ice Palace, it's the first time when you technically need those flippers, but these runners could do that fake flipper stuff that I was teasing about just a moment ago. And Wulfy getting electrocuted at first.
That's why we wanted the sword beams. Unfortunately, the other jelly, he slashed the sword into him and got shocked.
So, in just a moment here, we're going to be coming across 2 Staphos Knights. There's a technique that all runners pull off in this game. You want to explain this technique as Wulfy gets ready to pull this off?
Well, he's gonna try to kill 2 Stalfos Knights with 1 bomb. So the first one, he's gonna put down the bomb as he walks up. He's gonna make one of the Stalfos Knights appear, and then he's gonna walk to the other one, pick up a pot, and throw the pot into him so that he gets into position to get killed by that 1 bomb. There you go. Textbook by Wulfy there.
Yes, indeed. Next up, the Ice Palace Bomb Jump. This saves so much of this dungeon.
Let's see what visual cues he uses. Rick, which one do you use?
I usually use the top of Link's head, which is not good when you're playing randomizer with the different kind of sprites that are involved. But Wulfy pulls off the bomb jump to perfection, and that's good because he only has 1 bomb after this.
It's actually good because he needs that 1 bomb for a shopping trip once again.
You're not buying that ice rod, it's given to you in a chest.
Yeah, but you still got a bomb for it. Bada bing, bada boom.
I wish I could buy an ice rod for bombs. No, never mind, I don't. Take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. I don't need an ice rod. I can just go outside for an ice rod.
Now, one thing important to note is in this dungeon, our runners are also trying to maintain their magic because this fight will require our full magic bar in order to beat this boss.
There's one other way that you can beat this, but not with the health that Wulfy has.
Yeah, fortunately, if you don't have sword beams, this is the only way to do it.
Beautiful Cold Stare fight for Wulfy. Got him into the corner, and there was no coming out of that corner for Cold Stare. So beautiful fight for Wulfy.
He does go for the most optimal strat there. Well, usually the double poke, but he does do the 1 poke strat and gets him in the corner, which is the 2nd fastest.
So JSR coming up to the Ice Palace Bomb Jump. I believe we have the command for that in chat too, the IPBJ.
Oh yeah, let's see.
And JSR just hovering around that wall, just wanting to make sure that he doesn't get hit by that torch into a hole, because that, as you mentioned before, that bomb is going to be important.
Yep, resource management is very important in this speed run.
So now here's the thing, is you mentioned this little trip that these runners are going to go on. This, some runners opt to do it before going into Swamp Palace. Some of these runners will opt to do it before they go into Misery Mire. It's important because of reasons.
Yes, some runners want to do so they can maintain their health going to Misery Mire, while others try to go for a quicker trip up the mountain because they can utilize another strat called sword climbing.
Yep. Now, Wulfy is going to go ahead and go into Swamp Palace first. So he's going to put off this trip of his that you were mentioning. We'll see if JSR does the same thing himself in just a moment. And does JSR get a good cold stare? No, he loses him out of the corner. But it's not going to be that devastating, but it's just a few extra seconds that JSR lost.
And on Wulfy's side of the screen, he just did a item block dispersal. This is also a Japanese 1.0 exclusive, where when you push the block and you press the mirror, you're able to eliminate the block.
But you can only do that in a case where you're not in a dungeon.
Yes, otherwise you restart yourself and reset the dungeon.
And then you're going to be hating yourself for it.
Now, there's one thing the runners still gotta do. They still gotta pick up 1 more bomb. They usually do it right there, or they wait till this one last section before the boss. Yes, someone in chat just said, is the Japanese 1.0 ROM easy to find? Yes, it actually is, but you're gonna have to figure that out yourself.
sure there's a Link to the Past randomizer speedrunning, or not, sorry, Link to the Past speedrunning wiki that you can go and take a look at. JSR actually did get lucky because that little stone that he pulled up, it's what, a 50-50 shot that it has a bomb?
Yes, it is. And what JSR did there was actually the quick work, and the most optimized one is killing that Octorok and then going into the warp there, because the Octorok actually causes some lag while you screen transition over to the Dark World.
Oh, lag isn't that bad.
Imagine actually knowing what lags the room feels like. That's actually a feature we can use in the practice hack. It's also available, and it actually shows the lag meter of how much rooms lag in this game.
Also available on the Link to the Past speedrunning wiki.
Very useful tools. Saves a lot of time and grief knowing that you're doing these rooms the fastest way possible.
Allows you to practice them too, so maybe one day you can be just as efficient on your Mothula fights, just like these two runners are.
Great tool, made by a great guy. Have to say shoutouts to Pinkus for that one.
So JSR doesn't have to worry about that bomb as that you were mentioning earlier, because he got that one out of the stone. Wulfy still needs that bomb.
I hope he remembers. Pretty sure he is. He's a very well-versed runner in this game. Done many, many runs, so he should know where all the resources are.
And he's going to need that bomb for the next dungeon that we come across.
Yep. This is absolutely required. You definitely have to have that bomb. There's no way to beat the dungeon without it.
But that is a story coming up for about 5 minutes from now. Wulfy's coming across the item of this dungeon, which is the hookshot. Now, the hookshot is required to get to the back part of the Swamp Palace. That allows you to get to the dungeon boss named Argus and your chatty Cathy as you were pointing her out earlier.
Oh yeah. Wulfy did the optimized strat there by aligning himself to the chest. He's then able to align himself to the right and hookshot to the skull and hookshot once again. And there's a little trick he did there.
These runners are so good.
Oh yeah, they are. There's a little trick Wulfy did in that room actually with the statue pull. He actually item dashed to that left skull there. It actually changes Link's movement. Whereas he pushes that statue, he can instantly grab the skull when he walks up there. Being in that state also makes Link's movement a little bit faster than the regular movement. And this is the part where I think Wulfy's going to pick up the bomb. No, he does not. Wow, okay. He's probably going to go for a 50-50 bomb maybe at the ice rod then.
Well, we'll see when we get over to Misery Mire coming up. But first, we've got the boss battle against Argus. And if you're very, very proficient against Argus, you can one-cycle him.
Yes, we don't see that from Wulfy because how we know is if he's still holding out his sword and he does an item dash in, he'll be able to kill these puffs as he hookshots through them all.
So how does the item dash work in this case?
Well, that is so that Link can still keep holding out his sword, and it keeps maintaining it as a slash damage. By the slash damage, as you poke through each puff, it'll kill them in one stroke. That's why it's required in order to make that happen. Otherwise, you have to keep on slashing as Wulfy did right there.
And as a result, we had the first extending of Argus, so it's a 2-cycle kill there for Wulfy. So now we come across the entire final errands portion of this run. We got to get 2 items. One of them is required to get into the next dungeon. The other one is required for your 3rd trip up the mountain.
Yes, and of course we mentioned it's Chatty Cathy, our longest talking NPC in the entire game here.
quiet. I do understand all of this.
Alright, let's see what Wulfy does here. Some players opt to go for the swag item dash hookshot here. Looks like he's gonna do it.
JSR opting to go grab some arrows. That is required. That's a good move by JSR because he only had 10 arrows going in. He doesn't need the arrows just yet, but he's going to real soon.
Yeah, it's very important, as mentioned, knowing your resource management. And here's that sword climb that we see from Wulfy. That's why they route this way. See how fast he zipped up those stairs?
And it's going to be a 2-cycle here for JSR as well, but a solid first segment of Argus.
Let's go for the double fire rod sling. Ooh.
Beautiful kill. So JSR, Wulfy's up the mountain. He's going to grab the Ether Medallion, which is going to be required to get into Misery Mire, which is our next stop. Well, our next dungeon stop. But first, we got to go grab one more item, and this is going to be, as you were mentioning earlier, this ice rod thing.
Yep. Do you need a bomb to blow up this ice rod? Does he? Oh, he doesn't grab the 50-50 stone right there.
And I'm hoping that switch to the mushroom there is a reminder to him that he does not have any more bombs.
Yes, that's a very good telling sign. I hope he sees that and notices that he will need a bomb in Misery Mire.
And time to head on over to Misery Mire.
One thing that Wulfy was trying to do there with killing the crabs was trying to get back his health in order to have sword beams for this this first room that we're about to head to in Misery Mire.
So 103.52 was Wulfy's time out of Swamp Palace. 105.47 was JSR's. So a minute 55 difference between these two runners at this stage in the run. Dead Rock, please.
Right, Wulfy might be changing Fire Rod, as I thought. Yeah, this is the fastest way he can do it now is with the Fire Rod.
Yeah, it's a good backup strat at this point.
No more magic, though.
Yeah, so he's going to 3-cycle this room. And health extremely important here, as he wanted to go back to get that heart. You want to keep as much life as possible, because remember, Wulfy never grabbed the powder. He has the mushroom in his hand for some reason. Maybe he may be trying to pull it off for a fake powder later if he absolutely needs it.
I think that's the reason why he depleted all his magic, but he's gonna have to now get to the... Of course, he's gonna always have to grab the magic pot anyways to get full magic for the torch room. But this is the important part right here. These next coming up rooms, Wulfy's gonna have to kill a slug here to try to get a bomb.
Yeah, hopefully he remembers that 0 next to his count. And
I think he is. There he is.
There he is. And he gets the one bomb he needs. Very important for this dungeon that he actually does go grab that bomb, because you cannot beat Misery Mire without that bomb. That's something that JSR is not going to have to worry about, as he does still have that one bomb left over from earlier.
Okay, Isolated 99 asked a good question. The runners are probably not going to go get the silver arrows and gold based by the routing path they take in. If the runners were to get it, it actually saves a bit of time doing Misery Mire first and then go into Swamp Palace, because right after Swamp Palace you can just go straight up north and collect your gold and silver arrows then. And the reason why you can't do Turtle Rock first is because you don't have the Cane of Samaria item, which you need in order to beat that dungeon. Unless you can hover, which is really difficult.
And these runners are not really hoverers. as Wulfy's about to go pick up the Cane of Samaria, as you had mentioned just a moment ago. It is a required item for the second half of Misery Mire, as well as for Turtle Rock.
Also, doing Turtle Rock last is really ideal because you're already on the mountaintop, and it takes you straight to Ganon's Tower, so it's a really good routing choice to finish that one last. Alright, as Rick mentioned, it's very important to maintain your health through this dungeon because this boss fight, we're going to use a little of manipulation with the iframes here, but having those hearts is really ideal for that.
Yeah, and the whole thing here is you really do want to keep your health. We saw this come down in a race a few days ago, where health resulted in a death.
Also, I forgot to mention, the torch room is usually a good indicator of what pace our runner is at, because generally at that point, it's about 20 minutes added on from the torches where the pace of the run is roughly going to be ending.
So Wulfy heading out over to Vitreous. Vitreous is not a fun fight. And losing a heart right there. And here we go. This is where we're going to use the fake powder. We're going to try to get a health increase here from the anti-fairy. And he's mixing this up just a little bit. And this is unfortunate here because this is actually costing Wulfy some time.
Yep, I think he missed it.
Oh, that's a swing and a miss there.
God, this is now even more dangerous than it was before.
Yeah, he's down to 2 hearts, and this anti-fairy is not playing nice. So he's going to try to set this up one more time. This time he gets it. But that was a lot of time he used up trying to pull that off. So here we go, Vitreous. He wants to get hit by the sludge, not the eyes. And he's going to get out of this fight pretty well. 8 arrows to the eyeball, and he is down. But that was a lot scarier than it really needed to be.
Absolutely. I mean, getting bodied by the anti-fairy was not what he was planning. He was hoping to get that quick fairy and off to the boss. But still, he preserved his run. Dying to Vidi is really, really time costly because you're going to have to do Mire 2 room with all those wizards again and make your way up.
And without any magic and without beams.
Yeah, it's going to just be even slower, so this is something that you did not want to do. And on JSR's side, you can see that without picking up the mushroom and using the last bomb, you automatically switch to the fire rod, so you can fire rod that crystal, and you can move on.
So let's see how JSR's fight against Vitreous turns out to be. He is going to be in better health than what Wulfy was at.
Yeah, his health is way better. Yep.
But this is still a scary fight.
Oh my god, absolutely. If you do get hit by the eyeballs... Oh.
Yeah, he's canceling out of this right now, which is a wise decision. Here we go, the 8 arrows to the eyeball, switches then over to the mirror. That's solid there for JSR. He is done with Misery Mire.
Meanwhile, Wulfy got squirrel blocked. Oh, that's the worst one. Falling right into it.
So JSR gained a little bit of time on Wulfy because of what happened in the room before Vitreous. But still over a minute behind.
This is true. There's still a bunch of techs he still has to get through, and then Wulfy's already up the mountain now. Oh, but he's getting squirreled again.
Yeah, those dead rocks are not playing nice, and he's gonna go grab this this fairy that's always in those dash blocks. Good mind to know that it's there. Bonks into the rocks here. He's really hitting these dead rocks, taking it out on them right now. Yeah,
Death Mountain's no joke. It's always one of these things where either the boulders or the dead rocks get you.
So it is an 89-second lead for Wulfy. 1:12:10 versus 1:13:39 was the exit time out of Misery Mire for Wulfy. Still in the lead. JSR trying to get up this mountain here. Hopefully he doesn't get dead rocked.
Well, he's not getting blocked, so this is fine. Of course, Wulfy wisely picks up that bomb. He still needs a bomb for Ganon's tower. Actually, JSR can still sub 190. It's very possible. When he got to the torch room, he's about 119-ish. And it's about 20 minutes to finish the run from there. So this is still very likely he's on pace for sub 130.
Yeah, it was just 110 exactly when he opened up the big key location in Misery Mire. As Wulfy now going through the third room. JSR having a little issue with that final hammer peg, but gets it down. Here we go. And gets the head to open up on the very first frame, I think, that you can actually possibly get that opened in.
Let's see if this Pokey drives the ferry or not. Okay, so it does not, but however, because we saw the magic jar, I don't think Wulfy would get in that ferry now.
Being very, very patient with the chain chomps. You do not want to get hit by them. I repeat, you do not want to get hit by them.
Yes, chomps is no fun. They do lots of damage.
Everything in this dungeon does a lot of damage.
Because the game expected us to have the blue mail here, but we opted to skip that by bypassing all the Vice Palace. Alright, you see that JSR was using the hookshot here. By utilizing that, he will not get damaged by anything as long as the hookshot still keeps going. But if it does hit into something and gets hit, then he loses his vulnerability.
Yeah, that's the use of mechanic with the hook shot. It allows you to have extra invulnerability while the thing is stretched out. And that's something that's not just in the Japanese version. That's in the US version as well. But that's probably one of the only similarities between the two versions.
This is true, and the funny thing is in the Nintendo booklet, it actually mentions that you can do that with the hook shot.
Yeah, it does.
Right, Wulfy's in Pokey 2 room here.
Yep, 2 spins, and that gets the Pokey down. And JSR making his way through the labyrinth here of the tunnels and tubes.
Very important that he picks up the arrows here. He needs to have arrows for a refight that we're going to see very soon.
I have no idea what refight you're talking about.
Wow, he gets really good RNG though. That's what you kind of want, is Pokey close by the door.
And right now, I can tell you one thing, Hiei.
Yes?
This race is coming down to the oops that JSR had in the Tower of Hera at this point.
This is going to come down to the wire, I would have to say.
Well, let's see how the laser dashes is going to work. And Wulfy pulls it off pretty well. JSR and Pokey 2, and JSR has to do an extra spin or a slash in order to get that last Pokey down, but that's not much of a time loss at this point.
It actually maintains sword beams, which is really good for this crystal switch room here.
Alright, Wulfy going up against Trinex. JSR not that far behind. This is still a close race. Oh! JSR trying to bonk into the block, and when he grabbed the block instead of bonking, his time ran out and he got rollered.
And we get the backdoor strat by Wulfy here. This ensures a more simpler one cycle on Trinex.
And Wulfy done with Trinex. Makes it look easy. 2 spins and a slash. And Trinex is down and Wulfy's on his way to Ganon's tower.
Alright, laser has been skipped by JSR there. Being a little bit careful by walking it through. Now, one thing to note about the laser is the front end of the laser and the back end of the laser are the things that can actually damage you. It's only the ends. The rest of the laser actually doesn't hurt you at all.
It's like the fire snakes, isn't it? Or isn't it the fire snakes or just the front piece, right?
Yep, it's just the front piece, so you can actually walk along those fire snakes from the back.
JSR going up against Trinex. Wulfy's still in the cutscene. Wondering if he understands this text.
Of course, you saw on JSR screen and Wulfy screen earlier, it's wise to switch to your other item when the heads are exploding, because then you can't menu.
And JSR done with the head. Here, Trinex is down. We are going to have a Ganon Tower battle now.
Yes,
Wulfy has the advantage with 8 extra arrows versus the 17 versus the 9 that JSR has.
Yeah, he won't have to pick up as many arrows, which is an advantage for Wulfy. JSR's going to have to figure out how to get a few more arrows as he goes to Ganon's tower.
Luckily, the room before you head on downstairs does give you the chance to get some arrows.
Alright, Wulfy's... Of course, this is the most important part, is using the hook shot, getting through this room as fast as you can. You'll see some boomerang and hookshot strat is very traditional here.
Pulls it off too efficient. 119.57 exit out of Turtle Rock for Wulfy. 121.16 exit out of Turtle Rock for JSR. It is a 1 minute and 19-second lead for Wulfy at this point.
All right, very important. How you see how JSR opened the Ganon's tower. You can actually open at a low point so that the crystals start spawning sooner, and then the animation will go earlier and Ganon's tower open much quicker there.
And JSR into Ganon's tower. Wulfy picking up the arrows. Those are guaranteed arrows underneath that pot. This is still a race. Beautiful bombing of that for Wulfy. Doesn't need to worry about any of the arrows in that room, so he's going to come on down here to the Armos.
This boss is actually really important because it actually determines how the fire bats move in Ganon battle, because somehow this room is linked to that chamber. So the quicker you kill the Ice Armos, the pattern speed of the fire bats will change in the Ganon battle.
Which is complete. It's interesting how these things are attached to each other, but Wulfy done with the Ice Armos. JSR making his way through, heading over towards the Ice Armos himself. Keep an eye on what time he comes out of the Ice Armos battle. Here's Wulfy making his way to the Mimics. This is why you need to have more arrows.
Yep, you need 8 arrows to get past these Mimics here.
And this room here has a 5 that you can get, but if you get unlucky, you may have a despawn, and you can't depend on that being there. So you want to make sure you come up the stairs with the 8 arrows you need.
And here's the thing that I think most runners don't notice sometimes is why we see the runners start throwing bombs down. The reason why is because you have a quick menu to the bow, because once you deplete all your bombs, if you don't pick up the mushroom, you'll be at the fire rod. And then that's just one menu from the fire rod up to the bow. And that's why you see some runners start throwing bombs out.
Beautiful ice armors for JSR.
It's very important to get up to the top right of the screen so that when the cycle begins, you're really ready to kill the ice armors there. So both our runners executed that textbooks. Getting through that.
Wulfy's having a tough time to this gauntlet.
Yeah, this is part of the runs where RNG gets in the way is gauntlet.
Final room was solid, but that third room was really, really tough for Wulfy as we make our way over to Lamo 2.
Ooh, one cycle. Really
One
nice.
cycle, which is beautiful.
That's also RNG based too, because sometimes the this Wizrobe. Sometimes those Lambos do quick hops, which you really don't want it to be seen.
Wulfy finishing off the second of the Wizrobe rooms. Now time to light the torches.
Definitely got to switch to lamp. He does not have enough magic meter to do this without it. He's probably gonna have to pick up this magic pot too. There you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going for. Because you want to make sure you're able to light these up, because if you miss out, you are in trouble. And there we go.
Now here's another important thing about those torches. If you climb up these stairs the same time as those torches go out, you can despawn out of Ganon's tower. So you don't want to despawn all the enemies out of Ganon's tower, because then you won't be able to face Aghanim 2. Oh, we're getting some fake powder strats here by Wulfy. He's depleting all his magic again.
Yeah, he wants it because he's down to 5 hearts at this point.
Meanwhile, JSR's just missed on that one cycle.
And there's the magic pickup for Wulfy. And Wulfy is up to a 90-second lead as JSR makes his way up to the 5th floor. 124-44 versus 126-14. Moldorm 2. Wulfy tackles him down. JSR needs to have a clean Moldorm 2 to have a chance at this point. Because you remember, he did not have a clean Moldorm 1. And really, at this point, that is the difference in this race.
All right, some RNG pattern here still. The main Aghanim can still shoot blue balls, while the clones will all shoot an energy ball. Oh, wow.
Oh, for 3. 1. So
wow.
0-1 here for Wulfy in the first 2 cycles. Gets 1.
Whoa, these patterns. Okay, he does get his triple.
There we go.
Woo.
So now 1 more hit away. And he knows he's going to get it right here. There it is. So there's the 6 hits on Aga 2. Let's see how JSR does with Moldorm 2. Gets him down. Easily done. Good fight there for JSR. He needs that now, but he needs a clean final 2 bosses.
And this is coming down to crunch time here.
Ganon warps.
Lots
Ganon
of
executions. This is huge.
All right.
Winner of this race goes to 2-0. They will be pretty much assured a spot in brackets.
Wulfy going for the 1-1 here. Yep, gets it. Oh,
nice triple
with
for JSR. And whiffs on that.
It's a double.
That's a double. And here's stage 3 of the Ganon fight for Wulfy. And Aga 2 is down for JSR. Ganon, please.
Oh
Stop
my god.
warping. There we go. There's 3/4 of this stage 3 done. Come on, Ganon. There we go. JSR into the fight. This is not over with yet. It's time for Silverless. Get the torch glitch. That's important. Now, maximizing each cycle. You can get a maximum of 3 hits on Ganon per cycle here. Obviously not in this first part, but subsequently. And you see that he's setting this torch up right now for that reason.
Oh, no, Silver Ganon. Oh, no.
He hit him too early. He spun the sword way too early. That could also come into play with the fire, because he only was able to get 1 hit there.
All right, now he's getting in the groove again, getting 3 here.
There we go, getting a spin right there. And another spin. JSR getting tired of warping. Wulfy, setting up for another triple here. And there it is, and Wulfy misses out on the sub 130, but at this stage, he is going to be declared the winner to go 2-0 in his group. And get your GGs in the chat for Wulfy83 finishing up with an official speedracing.tv time of 1:30:18 seconds.
And meanwhile, JSR is on the last phase 2. He's gonna go for try to get 3 in 1 cycle.
A little too late on that swing right there, so he's only going to go for a double at this point.
Yep. Of course, get your GGs out, and of course, you also want to mention this: if you saw what the runners did and you enjoyed what they're doing, please absolutely give them a follow. They do a lot of the runs for LTTP.
There is JSR. He is done. And he'll go ahead and pop through the door and stop his timer, 1:31:18. So 1 minute apart. So he gained 30 seconds on Wulfy on the final 2 floors, the Aga 2 fight and the Ganon fight. But the lead at that point was just too big for Wulfy to give up. Get your GGs in the chat for both of these runners. Fantastic race. And I keep bringing it up here, Hiei, but it came down to that Tower of Hera for JSR. Falling down that center hole, going down the 2 floors, and then falling down again on the 5th floor down. That was unfortunate for JSR, and again, that's what makes the difference in this race, really.
Yep, the middle hole and then the bumper skip fall really costed him in this one. We do have JSR already waiting down there. Let's see if we can grab Wulfy as well.
Yeah, we'll try to get both of these runners in to talk about this run. Stay tuned. We got more stuff coming up here on Speed Gaming.
All right, we got James in here, JSR first. Hey, fantastic race, man. And we have Wulfy coming in.
What's up, guys? Oh, man.
And we have Wulfy in here as well. Congratulations to you on the win.
Yeah, GG Wolf, for sure, man.
So, Wulfy right now is muted to us, so we'll start with you, JSR. I obviously have got to start with this. Your thoughts about that Tower of Hera?
Well, I was already kind of salty from the Mulderm fight, which was pretty bad, and then the fake flipper setup, I messed that up. So I was just kind of trying to tell myself to calm down. But, you know, I'm going up against a great opponent, and I know I have to play near PB pace, if not better, to beat him. I would have had a PB to beat him today. So when I got to Mulderm, I was trying to kill him quicker than I probably should have, and he knocked me down the center hole, and at that point I was seeing red. It took every ounce of energy in my body not to forfeit.
Ouch,
Yeah.
that's gotta hurt, getting middle hold in a race. Yeah, good game.
And that really was the difference. You started clawing a little bit back in this run here, JSR. It was, but for the most part, through the second half of this run, you were 90 seconds back, and then you got to only be 60 seconds back at the very end. Wulfy, how about those Ganon warps in the fight? Were you starting to sweat when you were dealing those warps?
I didn't think he'd warp enough to cost me the race, but it looks like he did warp enough to cost me the sub 130.
Yeah, it's funny when you see things like bad Ganon RNG or just weird RNG, like little things that can cost you so much time is what makes racing this game a completely different animal than, like, say, the randomizer or other games. It's just, it doesn't matter how good you are, this game can give you 15 Ganon warps and set you back, 20, 30 seconds.
At least Ganon 1 was pretty nice.
How many blue balls did you get?
I got 3.
Oh, nice. I got 1. So, I mean, there was a couple things that went right in this run, but
Aga 2 was not so nice. That pattern Aga 2 gave me on the first round was, like, probably the worst possible one you can get.
Oh, really? I got a nice setup. My first one was a triple, and then I went for the... I should have been more conservative, but I was trying to go for a triple on the second round and got nothing, and that was my own fault. But I mean, obviously by then it wouldn't have been enough anyways. But
I was also really scared that I was gonna die trying to do fake powder before Vitreous.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What would you like to say to that anti-fairy in Misery Mars? You're setting up fake powder.
Please stop moving.
so I was racing blind. I didn't see what happened. What exactly happened in Mire?
I had to chase the anti-fairy around for a good 30 seconds trying to fake powder it. I never practiced doing fake powder in that room.
Yeah, you were down to 5 hearts, so it was very essential that you did pull off the fake powder in the end because you're going to need it for the fight against Vitreous.
Well, it definitely sounds like you were, I mean, if it wasn't for that fake powder incident and a couple bad Ganon RNGs, man, it looked like you were on a really good pace.
I was about 30 seconds behind after Aga, and then was about a minute or more behind for the rest of the run. I made up some time going into Swamp, actually. I came out 43 behind after Swamp.
Nice. I mean, it was nice to be able to claw back even with the bad RNG, but congrats, man. It was definitely an honor getting to race you, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to give you a better race. I tried, man. It just once because in Hera, once I got knocked down the center hole, it was, you know how it is when you get that Hera salt brewing, and then when I went back up the tower, I messed up bumper skip and fell there.
That's the kind of thing that'll put you on tilt for sure.
And then when I got back to Mulderm, I fell again.
Oh no.
So I went from -6 seconds to about +140, but I finished at about +110. So it's encouraging to know that even with all that salt, I was still able to claw back 30 seconds. I really do think if I keep grinding at it for the next few days, that I might get that sub 90, which would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, what's your PB now?
130.43.
I was going to say,
so you'll probably be a sub 130 pretty soon.
JSR, you take away what happened to you in the Tower of Hera. You're a sub 130 waiting to brew.
I think it's there, man. Light World has been treating me so badly. Bad RNG and escape all the way through to Aga, and it's I'm sure any Link to the Past runner would agree. It's just hard to get that mentality. It's kind of like with Zelda 1 when you get stuck in level 3 and you just got to get out of that. You just got to get through it and just go with what the run gives you. And it's easier said than done sometimes, but it's still a lot of fun to race. And obviously, I want to thank you, Wulfy, for the race, and GG. And congrats, sir. Hiei and Rick for the commentary, speed gaming, everyone behind the scenes. I really appreciate all your hard work, guys. Thanks a lot.
Now, both of you are not done just yet. Now, Wulfy, with this win, you obviously go to 2-0, and that qualifies you, or at least gets you ready for brackets coming up. But for both of you at this point, you still have one more race to go, and that's going to be against the Shell Shaft.
Yeah, and it looks like I'll have to win it to have any chance to advance. So I'm going to do my best going forward. And obviously, Wulfy, you're in pretty good shape. So if I'm not mistaken, though, guys, it's average time is a tiebreaker. Is that correct?
I believe yes, but don't quote me on that one.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't forfeit then.
Yeah, I'm glad you pulled through this. You still had an amazing run, and it was nice to see you come back after all that happened in the Tower of Hera. I know we're really pining over that Tower of Hera, but again, this was a phenomenal run by you, and both of you guys, phenomenal, great Mothula fights.
Yeah, Mothula was one of the few fights I had that actually went, the way I planned. I messed up blind. Helma almost got me. Cold Stare kind of trolled me a bit. Trinex was good, but yeah, it's a complete polar opposite of what my PB was. I just got this PB 2 days ago, and it felt like every boss battle in that run was perfect. So it's kind of a shame that obviously you can't get that every time, but that was kind of rough. I'm just glad I didn't die. It was a deathless run. I'm proud of that.
I'm glad I didn't die too. Just barely didn't die.
Yeah, you had a nervous Helmasaur King fight there, Wulfy. Down to 1 heart at the end.
Yeah. Most bosses went pretty well, though. I got 3-cycle Landmo. Cold Stare went exactly the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And Moth, I didn't get the double hit on Moth, but after that it went okay.
That's probably the boss fight I need to work on the most is Lambo. I had a 7-cycle, and even in practice, I've never had a 2-cycle. I just can't do it. I don't know what it is about that fight. I've tried every strat I can think of, and I just can't seem to.
2-cycle is really hard. I've only gotten it once in a run.
Yeah,
3 cycles. 3 cycles the best I hope for realistically in a run.
It's just one of those fights I think I just have to keep practicing, and hopefully one of these days soon it'll all come together. I'm racing another runner to sub 90, and if he gets it before I do, then he's going to make history. So hopefully I can get it before he does, but he's a good guy too, and I wish.
You're talking about the Zelda trilogy 30, 80, 90?
Yeah, if I can get the sub 90, I'll be the first, but I just got to keep my head cool and not allow stuff like what happened in Hera to completely overwhelm me, because I think if I went back up the tower and had a flawless rebound, that might have been a PB. That's how good that end game was. I think my official time was like a 131. What was it? 131.20 or something like that.
131.18.
So if I was able to get back up the tower and not suffer those other 2 falls, that's probably a PB. So I just gotta really focus on staying level-headed and not allow this game to get under my skin, because it does, and it's frustrating. But I'm getting better, and I'm happy to be a part of this, and I hope I can do everyone proud going forward.
Again, you're a PB ready to happen, a sub 130 ready to happen. We wish you good luck in doing that, JSR.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Everyone have a great rest of your Saturday, and good luck going forward, Wulfy.
Anything you want to add, Hiei?
No, it was a pleasure commentating your race. Thanks you so much for giving us a fantastic race. Hope everyone enjoys their after Friday 13th.
So coming up next year on Speed Gaming 2, we're going to turn it on over to Rockman 2. Dackley versus Beef Watson 85. That's coming up in about 15 minutes from now. All Insider will have the call for that race. Once again, that's coming up in 15 minutes here on Speed Gaming 2. We got more Link to the Past coming up real soon. I'll take a look at that schedule in just a moment. Hiei.
All right.
So what have you learned from this race?
Well, costliness is, of course, falling down in holes, but execution definitely prevails by not dying. We got a really close race from both our runners here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting seeing those two in their final race. Tomorrow we do have several races coming up here. Begins at 2 o'clock Eastern. Filean versus Nick Noel. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 5. Louis versus Zam is going to be on Speed Gaming 3 a little bit after 5 o'clock. 8 o'clock Eastern is going to be the rematch after the first race got called off due to equipment issues. Parisian Player versus Andy. Also at the same time, it's going to be John Rosums versus ACMLM and Ninban versus Emo Zero. That's going to be a quad on Speed Gaming 4. The Parisian Player Andy match is going to be on Speed Gaming 1. And then Solidus versus Greenland and Shirt wraps things up at 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night on Speed Gaming 2.
All right. I think we're about wraps it up for us here then. But one last thing is, of course, once again, if you liked what you saw, please give these runners a follow. They did a fantastic race for us, and they run all sorts of different games that are also fun to watch. If you love Zelda, that's something that you should definitely follow these two runners with.
So be sure to follow the actual runners, Wulfy83 and JSR_. Not the runners you just saw pop up on the command. Anyway, so special thanks to the Speed Gaming crew as well as to the Link to the Past No Major Glitches crew here for letting me come on board for this race. And it's been a pleasure doing commentary once again with you, Hiei.
And it's the same for me, Rick. So I hope everyone enjoys the weekend. See you guys later.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Rockman 2 coming up in 14 minutes here on Speed Gaming 2. Have a good night.